A developer in California was paying $29 a month for GitHub Copilot, the AI coding assistant built into their editor, suggesting code, completing functions, reviewing pull requests. His new projected cost, $750 a month. He posted 2 words on Reddit. What a joke. It got 40,000 upvotes within 12 hours. GitHub's official community thread announcing the change received 904 downvotes against 22 upvotes, and 435 comments. The vast majority of them variations of the same question. How did we get here? On June 1st, Microsoft switched GitHub Copilot from flat subscription billing to token-based pricing. Overnight, without a fallback model, without a grace period, and with costs that can jump from $29 to $3,000 depending entirely on how you work. This is the end of cheap AI. And in the next 14 minutes, I'm going to explain exactly what happened, why it happened, and what you should do about it. Let us start from the beginning. Because to understand why this feels like a betrayal, you need to understand what GitHub Copilot was. GitHub Copilot launched in 2021. For a flat $10 a month, later raised to $19, then $29 for Pro Plus, you got unlimited access to an AI coding assistant that sat inside your editor, suggested code as you typed, answered questions in a chat panel, reviewed your pull requests, and increasingly ran autonomous agentic sessions that could read, modify, and test entire repositories on your behalf. The word unlimited was never technically in the contract, but that was how it felt. Pay your monthly fee. Use it as much as you want. No meter ticking in the background. That model ended on June 1st, 2026. The new system replaces unlimited use with GitHub AI credits. Your subscription price looks the same. Copilot Pro is still $10 a month. Pro Plus is still $39. But those prices now buy a specific allocation of AI credits that are consumed based on actual token usage. Every character you type in, every character the AI writes back, every file it reads during an agentic session. When your credits run out, Copilot stops. Not slower, not a cheaper fallback model. It stops responding entirely until the next billing cycle or until you buy more credits. For light users, someone who occasionally asks Copilot to auto-complete a function or explain a piece of code, the new pricing is roughly equivalent to the old pricing, maybe slightly better. For heavy users, developers running agentic sessions, using premium models like Claude Opus or GPT 5.5, doing repository scale refactoring, the numbers are genuinely shocking. Let us talk about the actual numbers, because the headlines say 100 times more expensive, and that is not an exaggeration. A standard agentic coding session, the kind where you ask Copilot to refactor a module, write tests, and fix the failing ones, typically involves reading dozens of files, sending hundreds of thousands of input tokens, and generating tens of thousands of output tokens in response. Under the old flat model, that session cost nothing extra. Under the new token model, each of those sessions costs between $30 and $40 in AI credits. A developer doing serious agentic work, 3 or 4 sessions a day, 5 days a week, burns through their monthly Pro Plus credit allocation before the first Tuesday of the month. Every session after that is billable at the per token rate. The most extreme projection shared on Reddit involved an enterprise team running continuous CI integration with Copilot agents. Their monthly estimate jumped from $50 to approximately $3,000. That is a 60 times increase. The specific model you choose matters enormously. Using Claude Opus 4.8 through Copilot carries a multiplier of 27 times the base credit rate for annual subscribers, meaning every token costs 27 times more than the base. Using GPT 5.5 carries a similar premium. The cheaper MAI model Microsoft announced at Build this week costs significantly less, but it is also less capable. The community reaction was not simply anger at higher prices. It was anger at the architecture. Previous versions of Copilot, when you ran out of premium requests, fell back to a cheaper model so you could keep working. The new system has no fallback. Credits run out. Tool stops. That removal of the safety net, silent and unannounced, was the detail that turned frustration into fury. Now the part that most coverage has missed: why Microsoft did this. Because the official explanation was about giving users transparency and control over their AI spending. That is not the real explanation. Internal documents obtained by technology journalist Ed Zitron and reported this week reveal the actual reason. GitHub Copilot's operational costs were nearly doubling week over week since January 2026, not month over month, week over week. The explosive growth of agentic workflows drove this. When Copilot was primarily a code completion tool, the token costs per user were modest and predictable. As agentic mode adoption grew, users asking Copilot to autonomously manage entire development workflows, the token consumption per user multiplied dramatically. Sessions that took seconds in 2023 now take minutes and consume orders of magnitude more compute. Microsoft was running a structural subsidy. They were charging flat rates for usage that was growing exponentially in cost. The longer they waited, the worse the math got. The billing change was not a product decision. It was a financial emergency disguised as a product update. The GitHub CPO's official post framed it as a reliability improvement, giving users control to avoid unexpected costs. The community saw through that framing immediately. 900 downvotes in 24 hours is not confusion. It is the sound of people who understood exactly what was happening. And here is the uncomfortable truth underneath it. The subsidy was never sustainable. The golden age of flat-rate unlimited AI was always going to end. June 1st was just when it ended at GitHub. The reason the reaction has been so visceral is not simply the price. It is the history. For 3 years, Microsoft actively encouraged developers to build agentic workflows with Copilot. Every product update celebrated more autonomy, more agentic capability, longer context windows, more file reads per session. Every marketing email said, "Let Copilot do more." Every keynote demonstration showed Copilot autonomously managing complex multi-step development tasks. Developers listened. They restructured their workflows. They built habits. They trained their teams. They wrote internal documentation. They made GitHub Copilot the default tool for how their organizations write software. And then, on June 1st, the bill for all of that arrived. This is what the phrase bait and switch means in practice. Not a conspiracy, Microsoft needed the adoption. They needed developers to build the habits before the economics of AI infrastructure made flat-rate pricing impossible. But the effect, from the developer's perspective, is identical to deliberate deception. 3 years of use more followed by now pay per use feels like a trap even if it was not designed as one. The developer who posted "what a joke" was not wrong. He was just one of the first to understand that the joke had always been that the price was temporary. Now, what Microsoft is doing about it. Because the billing change did not land in a vacuum. It landed the same week as Microsoft Build 2026, the company's annual developer conference. The timing was not accidental. Microsoft knew the billing change would trigger outrage. Build was the platform to announce the response. At Build 2026, Microsoft announced the MAI-1 coding model, a homegrown model built specifically for Copilot, designed to replace the reliance on GPT 5.5 and Claude Opus as the default Copilot engine. MI1 is optimized for coding tasks, faster inference, lower token cost, same or better performance on standard coding benchmarks compared to GPT 4.0. The MAI-1 multiplier in the new credit system is dramatically lower than the premium models. For standard coding tasks, not frontier-level reasoning, but day-to-day function completion, code review, refactoring, developers who switch to MAI-1 as their default model will see costs comparable to the old flat rate for moderate usage. Microsoft is essentially saying, you can have cheap AI again. You just have to accept a slightly less powerful model for most tasks. The developer community's response to that offer has been mixed. MAI-1 is genuinely capable for most common coding tasks. But the users hit hardest by the billing change, the heavy agentic workflow users, are precisely the ones who need the premium models most. For them, MAI-1 is not the answer. So what should you actually do? Let us be specific. If you are a light Copilot user, occasional completions, chat queries, code explanations, the new pricing is probably fine. Switch your default model to MAI-1, monitor your credit usage for the first 2 weeks, and adjust if needed. The promotional credits Microsoft is offering through August give you time to find your natural usage level. If you are a moderate user, daily coding with Copilot, some agentic sessions, run the math. Check your usage dashboard, estimate your monthly token consumption at the new rates, and compare to alternatives. Cursor, Windsurf, and Claude Code are the main competitors to evaluate. Cursor, now owned by Anysphere after the acquisition from OpenAI, offers a $20 per month subscription with unlimited fast requests on their own models. For pure agentic coding workflows, Cursor's model is currently benchmarking above MAI-1 on complex multi-file tasks. Claude Code, Anthropic's coding agent, charges per token through the Anthropic API, so you have full cost transparency and control. At current Claude Sonnet 4.6 pricing, it is cheaper than Copilot Pro Plus for moderate usage and more capable for complex agentic work. If you are a heavy agentic user, this is the group most affected. Cursor or a direct API integration with Claude or Gemini is likely more cost-effective than Copilot at any tier. The economics of heavy agentic use have changed permanently. GitHub is no longer subsidizing your workflow. Let us zoom out. Because GitHub Copilot is not the end of this story. It is the beginning. The same economics that forced Microsoft's hand are present at every AI company offering flat-rate pricing. The cost of inference, running a large language model to generate tokens, is falling fast as hardware improves. But the usage per user is rising faster than costs are falling, particularly as agentic workflows replace point queries. OpenAI's ChatGPT Pro subscription at $200 a month is already showing signs of the same pressure. The unlimited GPT 5.5 access, included in Pro, is economically unsustainable at the usage levels heavy users are achieving. Anthropic's Claude Max plan has already implemented soft throttles on the heaviest users. The golden age of flat-rate AI, where you paid $30 a month and used as much as you wanted, was a market development phase. Companies were buying adoption, not selling a mature product. June 1st is the moment that phase ended at GitHub. Similar moments are coming everywhere. For developers and businesses, the implication is clear. Treat AI compute like electricity. It is a real cost with a real meter, and the workflows you build need to account for that economics. The companies that build efficient AI workflows, that get the most value per token rather than just throwing tokens at every problem, will have a structural cost advantage over the ones that don't. The end of cheap AI is not the end of useful AI. It is the end of the period where you did not have to think about what useful AI actually costs. GitHub Copilot went from $29 to $750 overnight. 904 downvotes. 40,000 upvotes on what a joke. Microsoft's costs were doubling every week. The flat rate was never going to last. The golden age of cheap AI coding just ended. Here's my question for the comments. Are you staying with GitHub Copilot, switching to Cursor or Claude Code, or building something direct API? Tell me below. I read every single one, and I will feature the best answers in Friday's video. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the most important AI story of the week, explained fully. See you Friday.